Hey guys, and welcome into the Roxy report. Okay, so it's story time. I haven't done a story time video before, so this could be really interesting, or terrible. Probably mostly terrible. So insert your creepy, spooky music here, because I am going to tell you a ghost story. My mum had just got this new place. It was this small flat in Bath, and this is the first place she'd ever moved to on her own, because beforehand she lived with my dad and then lived with her mum up until she got this flat. And this is also before she passed away, it must have been about 2 or 3 months after this. She got this house, and she always mentioned that her bedroom was always very kind of cold for no apparent reason. She didn't like it. I went in there and I didn't feel comfortable. There was something that was off. So basically you had her room. If you were stood in the bathroom looking out of the bathroom, when you walked out of the bathroom, to the left there was the sitting room, and then into the kitchen, like a corner round into the kitchen. And if you went right out of the bathroom, there was her bedroom, and it had like a sliding door, the bathroom did. And I was kind of like, I was in there. It was early, well, must have been about like mid morning. I was cleaning my teeth, and she was always one of these people who would mess around and kind of like go woo, like through the door and stuff, and put her hands through the door and go and make silly noises and just mess around. And she was fantastic. She was a great person. I was in the bathroom. I didn't know where she was at this point. I suspected she was probably in her bedroom, feeding the rat, because she had a pet rat at the time called Snowflake, which was adorable. And she always wore dresses. It was always like long kind of like skirts and dresses, and mainly skirts, like a long kind of like fabric skirts. So you would always have that kind of ruffling sound whenever she walked anywhere. And so I was in the bathroom. The door was open a crack. I could see out into the hallway, only if I'd really concentrated. And I heard footsteps and shuffling, like the scuffling of the dress, walk past the door. And I saw the light in the crack of the door go out as someone passed by. And I was expecting, well, why didn't she say anything? Why didn't she go hi or whatever, or mess around? So I kind of went, I poked my head out of the door to kind of start to say something and be like, oh, hey, you didn't say anything. And I saw the back of a woman. It was so quick, I could barely work out what her hair was like or anything. But I knew it was a woman. It was definitely a back of a woman, and a long skirt go into the kitchen. And of course I followed, because I was like, well, why didn't she even respond to me when I was just about to say something? Why didn't she like turn around and go, oh, there you are, or whatever? So I followed her into the kitchen. No one. Apart from my mum, who was stood, because there's a kitchen back door for the kitchen. There was a little patio outside. She smoked, and she basically had the door held open, and she was just coming in, taking off her shoes. Now, if you knew my mum, she was very OCD. She wouldn't go in the house with shoes on. She'd have a giant go at you if you did. And she was there taking her shoes off, and I said, Did you just get something from in there? And she says, no, I've just come in. I said, right, well, I've just saw someone walk from your room to in here. And she got really freaked out. And I have no idea what that was or who that was. But it's that sound of the skirt, and everything was so pinpoint. It was so recognizable as her. Which is always weirding me out, because I'm thinking, well, was it her? She died a couple of months later, and there are stories of the fact that you can have ghosts of people before they pass away. There was a case of that. There was a little boy who ended up stopping someone on the road and said to him, "The bus is burning," and this guy drives up this hill, and there's a school bus, and it's set on fire, and that kid that had come down to warn him or tell him for asking for help was in the bus and had passed away. And there's a couple more stories like that which are really crazy, but I have no idea what that was. So if you have any suggestions to what that may have been, then comment down below. But that was one of the most weird ones. The only other time, now this is one more. There's one more. I don't know if I'm telling these very well, but you know. So this is a couple of years earlier when my mum still lived at my nan's house, and I used to go around my nan's every weekend and stay for the weekend. And I always didn't feel very nice there. There was always something. I've always felt like something was watching me. When I go upstairs, I hate going upstairs on my own, and when I'd sit on the sofa. To the right, there was there's a dining room and like a big sliding door, and I always look to my side like this every time I was sat on my own. I hated it. I always felt like someone was stood there watching me. And me and my mum were sat on the couch watching TV late at night, and she was on the left-hand side of me and I was on the right, and we were watching TV, and she looked straight past me, and she just did that. She went like completely white as a sheet. Eyes were just wide, and her mouth was wide open. And she must have been staring for at least 30 seconds, at what it felt like. And I remember saying to her, "What?" Because I hadn't turned around at this point. I said, "What are you looking at?" Because I was getting really creeped out, because I was like, "Well, what the hell are you looking at? I'm not going to turn around. I don't want to see what you're seeing." But you know, the human mind is always like, I need to find out what this is. So I was just about to turn around, and she grabbed my shoulder and said, "Don't look." Which is one of the creepiest things I think I've ever experienced. That was scary. And I didn't. After another 30 seconds or so, she kind of like looked down and was like, "Right, okay." And she was speechless for the next minute or so. She didn't say anything. And I looked after this point, and there was nothing there. I asked her later what she saw, and she didn't tell me what she saw, but she said that there was someone stood in the corner of the dining room, which is where my eyes would always flicker. This was years and years before. I would always kind of be looking to my right in that exact same area. So it was more than coincidence that there would be something there, and that always terrified me. So I have no idea what that was. That's something that only she ever knew. Unfortunately, she's the only one that ever saw it that I know of, and I never found out what exactly it was, or who it was. But it's always kind of bewildered me, and something that I've wanted to find out in some way. But that's my ghost story. So I hope you enjoyed my story time. I know I promised to do this video a while ago, so here you go. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope they were good, creepy stories for Halloween especially. But anyway, thanks for watching. Comment down below with your ghost stories, and I'll look into those. I really want to read yours and see yours and just experience those with you in the comments, or make a video and send it to me. But anyway, thanks for watching. Until next time, that's me out. Bye guys.